Welcome to the Lodge. You've accessed
the Lodgecast experience.
Warning, warning, dangerous spoilers ahead. Enjoy.
Welcome back to another episode of the Lodgecast. I'm your Lodge Master. With me, as always, is my brother Bishki.
Howdy doody.
And brother Lucas.
Hello there.
And tonight, our guest is the Honorable Brother Justin. He is here. In the Prius, we are outside the Staples Center tonight. We just went to an LA Sparks game. Sparks versus the Lynx.
So
They
we
crushed
are
it.
sparked up.
We are
They
sparked
crushed
up.
it. They won. Sparks won.
We're going to spark it up ourselves tonight because the movie is... It seems like they should only show this movie in a Bruin view situation or a Puffin view.
Are we doing a 4DX, by the way?
No, it should be.
No.
Oh my god, it should be. Tonight's movie is called Action Point. Action Point is what it's called, and it stars Jackass's Johnny Knoxville.
Yeah, it's starring in quotation.
What this appears to be is a movie kind of based on this dangerous amusement park that was in, I think, New Jersey in the 70s or something like that, or early 80s, that is notorious for how many injuries it had and how shoddily constructed it was. So I think that's what it's
So it's a real
riffing
place. It's not a fictional movie studio creation.
I don't know if they're going to be calling it that. Like I don't know if it's going to be the exact same thing or if they're just riffing.
Inspired by.
Yeah.
Got it.
I haven't looked very
Inspired
closely.
by true injuries.
Right. But what it appears to be is them incorporating Jackass-style painful stunts into a narrative film. So I think I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say I'm excited to see how they do that. The idea of it delights me. What's the temp in this car other than hot as fuck?
I remember in the Art Institute when I went in Chicago, the first Jackass film came out, and I didn't pay to see it, but back then I would theater hop, so I would see another movie, and then I would
Classic
sneak into
Lucas.
like two more. And I remember sneaking into Jackass and being quite taken with how entertaining it was. Like, I kind of was going to be dismissive of it, but I laughed and I had a ball. And I want to say I saw the sequel as well. But after that, my knowledge or whatever of the subsequent films, if any, have just completely dropped off. So I don't know what to expect.
You didn't see their 3D one?
Maybe they all kind of bleed together.
Yeah,
I think,
yeah.
But I would not be ordinarily seeing this had I heard about it. But I had no awareness of this. I didn't know what it was until we got here, and I'm still not quite sure what to expect.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's definitely been under-marketed.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
I remember all three of the Jackass movies and... what was it? Dirty Grandpa or
Bad
Bad
Grandpa.
Oh,
Grandpa?
Bad Grandpa. Yeah,
Dirty
I saw
Grandpa.
that. I
Robert
saw
De
that.
Niro was Dirty
Yeah,
Grandpa.
that's true.
Dirty Grandpa is like one of the only movies I've ever walked out on. Brother Beckerman and I saw it, and the projector stopped working. And instead of wait for them to fix it, we're like, we can just leave. We can just go. And we just walked, and it felt great. That movie was dog shit. Anyway, I remember Jackass 1, 2, 3. Like, they're great. I think they're very inspired. There's nothing else out there that's like it.
Yeah, I laughed my ass off during all three of them. Unapologetically so. I mean, if
know
it's
what you're
something-
getting into.
Yeah, it's something that appeals to the lowest common denominator, and I will meet it down there,
Yeah.
and I will enjoy every second of it.
Hell yeah.
I'll puke in my mouth a little bit. I'll
Right.
laugh till I cry.
Right.
I'm all in with those guys.
This movie's going to be something of a revelation to me. I have never seen an episode of Jackass, nor
Oh.
any
Oh.
Jackass film, nor Bad Grandpa.
What?
What?
I have no relation to Johnny
What?
Knoxville.
Dude, you look like you could be part of their troupe,
No,
bro.
I know.
Oh, my
Ishki,
God.
you are missing.
I don't
the
know
fuck
where
You have
I've
not lived.
been for the last 20 years.
These guys were pre-internet.
We're
Like,
gonna
Can't
have
Kill
a-
Yourself in these videos when I was in high school would get passed around. And
We're
it
going to
was-
have a little
I have
film
retarded.
festival for
I have
you.
no relation
Oh my
to
God.
any of this.
Wow.
You are going to be a changed man.
Yeah, so I'm
That's
excited.
great.
I'm excited.
I never knew you were a Jackass virgin.
I am a complete Johnny Knoxville virgin, and I'm looking forward to what he has for me. So
That's
here we go.
amazing. We're going to hotbox this already hotbox. We're going to see it at the downtown Regal and see if we run into any sketchy characters hanging around.
Oh, yes.
Let's puff it up and let's see if we can get through it without breaking any limbs. Love and light to you guys.
Love and light.
Action point!
Woo! Action point! Action point! Action point!
We're back.
Yeah!
We're back, y'all. We we visited the theme park Action Point and picked up a straggler along the way, a famous lodge member making his first appearance on the cast, Brother Wells.
What up, Chris?
He went to Action Point with us. We got a group discount. We traded in our Coke cans and got free admission. Not really. We just used our movie pass.
I think Action Point would have been RC Cola cans.
It would have been.
Yeah.
Would have been
Schlitz.
Schlitz.
What I told Lucas when it began. I'm like, it's yours to lose, Action Point. It's yours to lose. And we're here to figure out if they lost or if they won. But before we get into it, Brother Bishke, what's the official synopsis?
From Rotten Tomatoes, DC's the crackpot owner of Action Point, a low-rent, out-of-control amusement park where the rides are designed with minimum safety for maximum fun. Just as his estranged daughter, Boogie, comes to visit, a corporate megapark opens nearby and jeopardizes the future of Action Point. To save his beloved park and his relationship with Boogie, DC and his loony crew of misfits must risk everything to pull out all the stops and save the day.
That's it. It sounds like every single screwball group-based comedy from the 80s by design. I mean, the poster looks like it's aping those movies like directly. Chief among them, like Meatballs.
Yep.
Wells, before this movie, what was your feeling about Johnny Knoxville and the Jackass crew?
I'd been a big fan from back in the day. OGCK videos. Those were great. But I realized I was a kid then.
And now you've grown. Now you've
I'm
blossomed.
grown. So I got respect for Knoxville, but
Yeah.
But
So, going into this movie, did you know anything about it?
I knew nothing about it
Okay.
on purpose.
Well, I'm going to kick it off with something positive to say, which is I feel like it has this thing you can't really bottle, you can't really manufacture. It's this ramshackle quality that the original Meatballs had in its own weird way that Sleepaway Camp had. It feels like it's held together with Scotch tape. Like, it could go off the rails at any minute, much like any of the rides that are featured in the film. And to me, that's a little exhilarating when they get that tone right. And there were stretches of this movie that definitely had that. I think, namely, whenever shit's going wrong in the park and it just feels like absolute chaos. It's not a well-made film, but it keeps moving forward, and there's something to be said about that. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I think it had like a good premise. Johnny Knoxville is like, you know, in charge of this ramshackle, dangerous amusement park out in the wilderness. But I kind of felt, you know, at first I was kind of laughing at the bookends, like the whole flashback scenario of the storytelling. It was kind of funny.
They brought back Bad Grandpa.
Yeah,
he's telling his granddaughter the story of his wild days running the park.
It made me appreciate it at first, but then later I thought, man, this movie I think would move a lot better if it was like Johnny Knoxville's grandpa like takes his kid to a theme park like that, and you spend just the day there on these like rides in a 90-minute kind of fashion. Because I think they try to give it this ambitious scope and this storytelling.
Maybe he loses his grandchild and needs to find him by the time the park closes.
Yeah, I would have added more urgency. I think the very kind of loose story structure just ambled on a little too long, and yeah, none of the stunts really like made me laugh the way the original Jackass stunts used to.
Justin, how are you feeling right now?
Well, I'm going to start my comments off positive as well, which
Okay.
is, I'm still delighted by seeing Johnny Knoxville put himself in danger. And I don't exactly know how old he is, but it's not sad. I don't feel bad for him.
Sure.
I think he's a little too old to be doing what he's doing, but it's still delightful. I'm still into it. Nobody else does what he's doing.
Is his limp for real?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I think he broke some stuff while
Yeah.
filming this movie,
Yeah,
definitely.
okay.
But he's kind of he looks like he's held together with Scotch tape a little too, but he
Yeah.
looks like he's having a good time.
He's the comedic Tom Cruise.
Exactly.
Tom Cruise is gonna have to stop eventually,
but
but he's still
doing it.
insane
Oh,
things, and he's in a class by himself,
Yeah.
as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
What I think is really strange about this one is you kind of can't help but picture it as a Jackass movie.
Sure.
So they did 3, and then they did Bad Grandpa.
And Chris Pontius
And
is there as in
yeah.
a lead role.
Yeah, his character was god awful.
Yeah, yeah.
And so
Embarrassing.
there's this kind of progression where they're wanting to make real narrative movies, but with their old shtick
Right.
in it. And it seems to me like this should have happened in reverse.
Okay.
Where they made a traditional movie that wasn't that great, but everyone liked the stunts.
Sure.
So they went, fuck it, let's just make a movie where we only do stunts, and then people will love that because that's what they love. Instead, we get a kind of mediocre story
Yeah.
holding it all together, which I think could work in theory, but it just wasn't
It's
very good.
It
So-
seems unnecessary.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
the whole heart, quote unquote, of the movie is him reconnecting with his, semi-estranged daughter and earning her trust and respect. Like, oh my god, it's just so autopilot.
It really is. And I think if they would have taken like just an indie kind of comedy script, like, starring teenagers, and said, let's put Johnny Knoxville in here as the park owner and we'll add real stunts.
Yeah.
That could have worked.
Yeah.
If the movie could have survived without that.
It feels
This movie cannot.
It feels like Roar, the movie with Tippi Hedren and
Yeah.
Melanie Griffith with the lions constantly threatening to attack and attacking at any point. Like
Yeah.
it's they're still trying to do a story, but they're trying to have stunts constantly happening too that they want you to focus on. But the stunts are not the main attraction. Like, build it into the story like it's an arms race between these two parks or something. Like, we need to build crazier rides, like something
thought,
like that.
Well, yeah, I thought they had an opportunity that they squandered. Where if there's the Seven Mountain, the competing park, I thought for sure Johnny Knoxville and his cronies would go over to that park eventually to injure themselves, to try to tit for tat, to sue each other, and into this back and forth. But they never really went anywhere, And
that would have been a great integration of stunts that go wrong where they hurt themselves. Like, that would have been.
I mean, I got
good.
a little hopeful at the part where they were like, let's jack up the rides and see what we can do with them.
Right.
Like when they're like, let's see how fast we can get the tilt-a-whirl to go, or but then they didn't really take that.
They don't
anywhere.
really do anything with it,
Yeah.
and then you're stuck with him rekindling with his daughter. And another thing, the movie kind of leers at this daughter.
Yeah,
like,
definitely.
When
Yeah,
she first
little
showed up,
weird.
I was unclear how everyone felt about seeing her.
She was a
It-
minor, I think.
It was very uncomfortable.
She shows up. Okay, so she shows up to see her dad, and her, I guess, uncle is Chris Pontius, who's walking around with just a hatchet and his regular, man thong.
Daisy dudes.
Yeah. And she comes into the house, and the camera is like kind of taking her in full body. She seems like she's maybe 12, 13. And they both kind of just look at her and are like, whoa. And you're quickly doing the math, like, that's her dad, and that's what is purported to be her uncle. And then her uncle's like, you have blossomed. And then Johnny Knoxville gives a good reaction shot where he's just kind of like, bad thing to say, like, don't make this awkward. But then they dwell on it, and they're like looking at her tampons, and they're just like mystified by her. And the movie continues to kind of look at her weird. I don't know.
Yeah.
There was no punchline or payoff to it. There's no comedy in it. Like a lot of the
maybe we're more sensitive. We're definitely more sensitive to that now than we've ever been. So I don't want to like call it out when it's not happening, but it was.
No, I think it was happening. That eased the pressure when Pontius got a girlfriend somehow.
Yeah, because it felt like he was making moves on this 12-year-old a little bit. And that's partially too because he's not a good actor. So it just you can't he's not conveying what his motivation is through acting. So he just seems like a creepy dude.
Yeah, he's playing himself for sure.
Educate me a little bit on the Jackass, because as I revealed, I have no relationship with Jackass. Educate me on the Jackass universe. So that guy's a regular?
He's regular.
Okay.
He's constantly getting his dick bit by snakes and stuff.
Okay. Yeah. And then wasn't there a guy that like a midget that died or something like that? Or like...
Well, Vern Troyer was not associated with...
Oh, no. There's someone died?
No, the Kid Rock's...
and then there's Kid Rock's little
associate.
guy. This is Wee Man is not dead.
Okay, Wee Man. Oh, okay.
Wee Man's a different little man.
But he is part of Jackass.
He is.
And he didn't show up.
He was not here.
Peter Dinklage is also still alive.
Peter Dinklage is alive.
Okay. Villachet is
So,
dead.
what? Yeah. So, I thought that this was going to be... When it was revealed that most of the cast were young, that it was going to be like a passing of the torch to like a new generation of people who would do stunts and crazy stuff.
That's what I thought,
and they kind of did somewhat, but the message of the movie in a way is a self-fulfilling prophecy, because Johnny Knoxville says like, this could never happen today, and kids today won't do this and are afraid to do this, and then it shows all the younger cast like maybe committing to one thing, but it's pretty much just like they fell over.
Yeah.
And it's
it needed to be a passing of the torch to the YouTube.
Going to happen. Yeah.
To the YouTube.
And the movie starts with him watching clips on YouTube.
Yeah, they're acknowledging their legacy is, taking root in the youth of today.
Yeah.
But the stunts are just not memorable,
No.
Again,
or creative.
There's like
creative.
no thought. Yeah.
Like, I think, and I can chalk that up to it not being integral at all with the plot. Like if they were building up shit, like if they were like, okay, I'm gonna fall off here and we're gonna do a lawsuit, and there was like a build up to it. They could lodge in our memory a little bit, but as it is,
or if they were like spending the whole movie working on a brand new ride or obstacle course or something that they then had to test out,
an obstacle course, Jesus,
like something,
like
a contest,
oh my God,
like a ticking clock, or
and you can see Mike Judge was involved in the story, like you could see him being very interested in this, but he would have done something.
I don't think he was that involved.
I think he was like. Johnny Knoxville running an amusement park in the 70s. It's dangerous. Can't lose.
Yeah, that's a great premise.
It's a great premise, but fuck.
Well, and it was probably pitched like this is going to be Wet Hot American Summer, but with real stunts.
Yeah.
And it really just wasn't there. Although there was, I want to know who's responsible for the bus station joke.
That was the funniest part of the movie.
That had to be Mike Judge,
because that was brilliant, and it was really out of place.
Explain what happens.
So, Johnny Knoxville's daughter, Boogie, runs away, and so Johnny Knoxville, Chris Pontius, they go to the bus station because they think she's going to get on a bus and go back to New York. So he gets up to the ticket counter and he's like, have you seen my daughter? And the woman at the ticket counter goes, oh, long hair, upset? He's like, yeah, she's been here? She's like, no, this is a bus station that's describing half of our customers. And so he looks back and there's a guy just also looking for his daughter. But they kind of stopped it a little short.
He's like, Rebecca!
Because I expected it to go full Anchorman, where he just pans the room and there's like 4 or 5 guys.
They could have done a few minutes.
But it was still a pretty good joke.
That was the highlight.
But very out of place.
Is there a salad dragon scene?
Well, I don't think any of us are excited about this being the salad dragon scene, but I suppose if we had to pick one, it would be where Chris Pontius is hiding in the TV studio.
Yeah.
And it really just wasn't very funny, but it's as close. It's almost like watching a salad dragon on a TV from across the room.
Yeah.
It wasn't a real salad dragon
Yeah,
scene.
that's true.
He's trying to slip in a new commercial that they made, into the TV studio, and a anchor is having sex with a woman, and he's hiding under the table. And when the man climaxes, his jism falls onto Chris Pontius's arm, and then the dog licks it off during the escape. I don't think we can call that a salad dragon scene. It's not.
I don't think we can.
It was
either.
kind of just, it was.
They never really got there. They never really got to one. I feel like
No.
they could have had so many. And again, like, I don't know if anyone was steering the ship. It just, like, never went. And I don't know, like, if it was rated PG-13 or if this was... Was it R? Because
Had
it
to be
did.
R.
It didn't feel R. Like, it felt like
They didn't push it.
They weren't they're pulling their punches.
They're
like,
Jackass movies, they go all the way.
Yeah,
all the way.
this was not at full throttle. It felt like we were stuck in second gear, like, a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not having any relationship to Jackass.
I feel bad that this was your gateway.
I felt that, this was kind of my suspicion of what Jackass was. But
this isn't...
but there must be more creativity to
Well,
it somewhere.
there's another big element that we're not talking about that the original Jackass trilogy had that this film was missing, and then that is real, genuine reactions from passerbys and civilians
Sure.
who are not in on the joke.
Yep.
And it seemed like every person in the park was like a certified pro, or like just at least someone down to party and get crazy.
Absolutely.
And that kind of sucks a lot of the fun out of it, I think.
So why weren't there more Jackass people in this movie, do you think? Are
Yeah.
they,
Well, I was-
officially
They're watching
retired?
YouTube.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Well, Knoxville in real life, I'm pretty sure, has a daughter and
Okay.
is definitely divorced. So I felt there was obviously some personal
Yeah.
stuff going
But
on.
I think Steve-O's clean now, so he probably just
yeah,
can't
Steve-O.
do most of the stuff
and
he
I
used
didn't
to do.
see like MTV films did all the Jackass movies.
Yeah,
I didn't
so
see any of that. There was some weird.
This
company
is
at
just
the beginning.
taking Johnny Knoxville's willingness to harm himself and putting it in a conventional movie.
Yeah,
It felt
it's
like they were Paramount was fulfilling their like contractual obligation to Knoxville, and this was
Sure.
just like a ceremonial final release. Because this feels like you're right. This is from a previous era.
Yeah.
And they're
It's
just
like, 'cause
getting
what
it.
can he do after this?
Yeah,
Well, it was theirs to fumble, and I think they fumbled it, guys.
yeah.
Let's go to the bones.
Cap.
Bishki.
I came at this about 20 years too late, maybe 30 years too late. I'll give it a bone.
Oh, you're throwing it a bone.
I'll throw it a bone.
Okay. Did the story affect you at all, or did you just
No,
want to check it out?
I was
Oh,
drifting. drifting.
Yeah, yeah. Wells, how you doing?
I'll throw it a bone.
You're gonna throw it a bone. Okay.
Throw it a bone.
You guys are being nice. That's great. Lucas.
Yeah, I'm saying one bone for the idea, Knoxville, but I really didn't care for the emotional heart of the story. It was unnecessary.
Brother Justin.
I am going one bone as well. I thought it's a solid premise. I still love Johnny Knoxville.
Sure.
And yeah, you're right. It was theirs to fumble, and fumble they did.
I am going to give it a Roger Ebert Memorial half bone. I don't think there's much. I think you guys are being too generous. I think this is just a dry wheeze of a movie. I am giving it the half bone for that ramshackle quality alone.
Pluckiness.
For the pluckiness and the meatballs-esque
Yeah.
je ne sais quoi that's hard
Yeah.
to do if you don't have it in your bones. Pun intended.
Half bone.
Half
Boner.
bone. Giving it a half bone.
Boner.
Half chubs.
We got beat down by Action Point, guys.
Yeah, we got whiplash, man.
I don't think you need to see it. I think you can easily just put it on in the background if you're not even close to the TV. I don't know why you do that.
Or just watch the trailer.
Watch. There you go.
Yeah.
Or just
There you
watch
go.
some YouTube.
Just hook up to YouTube.com and
Search
stunts.
stunts.
Yeah, we're gonna recommend you do that. But again, we have a June that is stuffed and packed.
Yeah, this was going back to the to the overboard a little bit, but and just in terms, we got good movies coming up, and I'm excited.
Couldn't have said it better myself. We're definitely excited for what's coming, and hopefully we're gonna find some extreme diamonds with some green fucking salads. If we haven't had you as a guest yet, look out because your time is coming.
Coming for you.
Get
Your
you.
time is drawing so fucking nigh. Brother Wells, it's been a pleasure. I wish we had a more ripe and luscious movie.
We
for
will.
you.
We will.
It was an honor hanging with you, bro.
It's great to have you in the Prius. And Brother Justin, as always, it's a pleasure. And
Anytime.
hopefully the Jackass guys can figure out something else that's interesting that can capture something in the current zeitgeist, but I don't know. Their legacy
over,
might
man.
be behind
They
them.
went out with a whimper.
Yeah. We're due for an upgrade.
Due for an upgrade. That's a teaser. We love you. Love and light to the lodge.
Love and light.
And like,
Take it easy.
Peace. Peace.